Buses on the Anglia line to London have been disrupted into this evening after overrunning weekend engineering works. Track replacement and signalling work carried out by Network Rail between Stratford and Ilford wasn't completed on time. There are still some delays and cancellations as National Express tries to restore services. Police are appealing for witnesses after a crash that killed 2 people and injured 6 others in Norfolk. The pile-up happened at a crossroads near the village of Garbaldersham yesterday. 3 air ambulances ferried the injured to hospitals in Norwich and Cambridge. Let's take a look at the football. Tom's here, and I see it's all change at the top of the championship.
It is indeed. Thanks, Susie. Yes, it's certainly congested up there, bar perhaps the top 2 or 3. Here's the table. Ipswich now 6th, Norwich 7th. It couldn't be tighter between the 2 East Anglian rivals. Same points, same number of wins, draws and defeats. Just the 1 goal separates them. The first derby of the season, by the way, just 3 weeks away, and it's Ipswich right now with some momentum.
Roy Keane says he won't get carried away, but it's been a productive couple of weeks. 3 straight wins and a fast start at Sheffield United. Slack defending and Thomas Priskin took advantage. 5 goals for the season. The Blades got level. Gareth Macaulay didn't clear. Stephen Quinn scored, but Macaulay more than made up for it, using his head to control, his boot to finish. Ipswich tomorrow host Derby, but they look fired up, certainly heading in the right direction.
We've had a decent week, a decent reaction from 3 defeats before that. So, listen, it was a tough game today, and we rode our luck a little bit, but we'll take the victory.
Norwich again found themselves 2 down in next to no time. Martin Patterson struck once for Burnley, then again John Ruddy just unable to save. But as they do, the Canaries knuckled down. Chris Martin finished well. Anthony McNamee nearly made it 2-2 before, in stoppage time, Andrew Crofts controlled, possibly with his arm, to salvage a point. Still time for another twist. Norwich's hero Crofts dismissed for a second booking.
His goal was brilliant. The red card, I thought the first booking was never a booking because I saw he's actually won the ball. Second one, as I said, I thought the referee, with that amount of time to go, should have used his head. But that's the nature of the game. I'm not going to curtail his enthusiasm for the game.
Crofts is now banned for tomorrow's trip to Millwall. Lambert proud, his team once again showing they take some beating.
OK, to the FA Cup. This the draw for round 2. 3 teams in it. Non-league Chelmsford are away to Wycombe from League 2. Colchester take on little-known Swindon Supermarine, and Southend, if they get past Macclesfield, face a trip to either Cambridge or Huddersfield. To the action, Chelmsford beat Hendon 3-2. The pick of the goals, their third, a corker from Anthony Cook. Colchester had a real topsy-turvy afternoon against Bradford. Andrew Bonds gave them a lead early on, which was cancelled out. David Mooney's neat finish made it 2-1. It was 2-2 before Brian Wilson curled in a free kick. The U's went on to win 4-3, their 4th win in a row. Southend twice fought back at Macclesfield. This foul allowed Antonio German to make it 1-1. The 18-year-old only signed on loan from QPR on Friday. They were 2-1 down, though, when Barry Corr, as the cross came in, he forced a replay. And the second-round matches will be played on the weekend of the 27th and 28th of November. Just before I go, I should mention that Cambridge Rugby Club have been saved from liquidation after agreeing to pay off their debt. So you can read more on that and all the rest of today's sport by tuning into the BBC Sport website.
You're watching Look East from the BBC. Now, all this week in Look East, we're reporting on something which affects all of us. We're all living longer. To start the week, a surprising fact from Essex.
Yes, on average, people living in the genteel resort of Frinton-on-Sea live to the age of 83, whereas down the road in nearby Jaywick, life expectancy falls to 70. Tonight's Living Longer report is from Debbie Tubby.
Frinton-on-Sea and Jaywick are both in Essex, both by the sea, but life expectancy is very different. Frinton-on-Sea is described as affluent. A third of the population is retired. It's said you could live here up to 83 years old. Ken Bates hopes to still be competing by then. He's 76 and represents Great Britain.
I know quite a lot of people retire and then suddenly they just go downhill because they didn't have any hobbies or interests. always thought positive all my life, always been a joker, and I think that helps.
If I was a resident in Frinton, it's predicted that I would live longer and hopefully age gracefully. The alternative is, just 9 miles down the coast at Jaywick, I would die up to 13 years earlier. Jaywick is officially one of the most deprived areas in England. These were built for Londoners as temporary holiday homes, not permanent accommodation for locals. Life expectancy here is around 70 years old.
Smoking, drinking too much, not taking enough exercise and being overweight are some of the key things that people can change about themselves. A lot of people have had quite a bad start in life and we can't blame that. But what we can do is make a change for the future.
How can you say that you're going to live longer if you live in Frinton than you do here? It's one of them. You know, you're going to live as long as you're going to live, aren't you?
They sit in the chair all day. And they're getting lack of exercise, to be honest with you.
I've been here 21 years, had a hip replacement recently. I'm 84 and I'm still surviving.
The Health Authority is attempting to narrow the gap of life expectancy. It's set up a drop-in centre.
We measure your height.
Jaywick residents can get a health check straight off the street.
73.4 kilograms.
The message is a healthy lifestyle could mean a longer life.
We're not telling everybody to eat lettuce and wear lycra and join a gym and do 50 press-ups a day. We're trying to say to people it's much simpler than that.
And the Health Authority says it's not just about living longer, but having a better quality of life too. Debbie Tubby, BBC Look East, Essex.
And of course, the BBC local radio stations will be running features about living longer all this week. And in Look East tomorrow, we hear from a woman in Bedfordshire who is the oldest woman in the country.
Now, it's one of the oldest surviving gardens in the country, but for more than 400 years, it's been shrouded in mystery.
Now, the new secrets are being uncovered at this National Trust property in Northamptonshire. And as Kim Riley reports, it's all thanks to the Luftwaffe.
Set against gently rolling hills near Oundle, this is Lyveden New Bield, a stately ruin frozen in time. Sir Thomas Tresham built it as a gardened lodge in the shape of St. Peter's in Rome. It was a celebration of his Catholicism in a time of religious persecution. When he died in 1605, it had no roof, no windows, no floors, and so it remains. But the surrounding landscape has this week won a Grade 1 listing from English Heritage. An aerial reconnaissance flight by the Luftwaffe in 1944 is helping to shed new light on the garden's Tudor origins. A study of photographs now held at the United States National Archive revealed 10 huge concentric circles within the garden. The photographs helped persuade English Heritage to label it one of the most extraordinary designed landscapes in the country.
That actually shows elements of the garden that we can't even see today. Areas such as the circular borders, probably a labyrinth, the largest labyrinth in the country, over a mile long, shows tantalising images of it through this aerial photograph. And later on this year we're going to start archaeological work and we hope to discover more about that design. And more recently we've discovered letters which Sir Thomas Tresham wrote 400 years ago about Lyveden and about his designs here. So pulling together these pieces of the jigsaw have really helped to develop this picture and this understanding of this site.
So long surrounded by folklore and mystery, the coming months are set to unlock more secrets of Thomas Tresham's creation. Lyveden, a garden fossilised in time that now at last can really be enjoyed. Kim Riley, BBC Look East.
Looks stunning.
Beautiful shots. A former painter and decorator from Essex has become the runaway favourite in this year's search for a star on the X Factor. He actually made me cry on Saturday.
That was because he was that good.
He was because he was so good, yeah, exactly. I was in tears.
Matt Cardle grew up in a village near Halstead, and on Saturday he stole the show.
It was the performance of the night on Saturday. Matt Cardle's rendition of The First Time wowed the judges. And at home today, his parents were pretty chuffed too.
It's a very special song because he sang that as his sister-in-law's wedding. It was an incredibly emotional day, and that emotion just came out again on Saturday. Every time he sings that song, it goes back to that day.
I have seen him do the song before, and I've seen him nearly crack up doing it before, so of course you're worried about that. Part of my brain is doing that. The other part of my brain just thinks, oh my God, he is so good. And I'm just so incredibly proud of him. And I just burst into tears.
And this is one of the places where his career began, the Five Bells in Coningain. Over the weekend, whilst cheering him on, they sold 1,200 pints of ale and packed 250 people into the bar. Not bad for a village pub.
Every time, just lately, he's been appeared, we've been mobbed, sort of 300 people turning up at the door, just impromptu gigs. So he's been really popular for 5 years. We know he's a great talent.
But just 4 months ago, Matt was working as a decorator. Halfway through repainting a local hotel, he was whisked away to Danny Minogue's house in Australia. But his parents say his feet remain firmly on the ground.
It's no secret. He had cancer when he was 2, which was challenging. Yeah, he was a little fighter then, and he always has been.
This is not a 5-minute wonder where he suddenly decided to sing at the age of 18, and by the age of 18 and a half, he'd just suddenly got a global career. He's 27. He's been working at this since he was 13.
So if Matt keeps winning the public vote, who knows, one day maybe the Kings of Leon may be covering him. Felicity Simper, BBC Look East.
Thank you. So you weren't the only one crying.
I know, I was there with his mum, and it really was an outstanding performance. Every week it is, but particularly this week.
OK, I think that's enough.
I'm a fan, as you can tell. Let's get the weather.
It's very wet and windy out there today. These pictures were sent in by Marvin Moss in Ipswich, showing Felixstowe just how windy it got. Gusts of between 40 and 50 miles an hour in some areas. In fact, the port of Felixstowe was actually closed today. So what exactly is going on? Well, we've got this area of low pressure